Hello and welcome to Automate Code again. As we discussed in the previous video, in this video we are going to automate this simple business scenario, and we'll be using UFT function library and Excel for working with this business scenario. And also for each of the step we will be writing a function, VBScript function, and those functions will be kind of keyword driven framework. We will be calling them from an Excel file. Okay, so now first let's take a look what are the steps. First we will be going to this site qaquestions.org, and then we will be verifying that the logo Q interview questions is there. For the next step, we will be verifying a text that will be present under the logo. So let me go to the actual website to give you a brief walkthrough of that scenario. So first we will go to this site, and then we will be verifying the logo is present in the site. This logo is present in the site, and then we will be verifying that this text here is present, this text, and then we will be verifying that let me take a look. In step 3, verify that Q interview questions link present in the menu bar. Then we will be verifying that this Q interview questions link present in the menu bar, and then we will be clicking on Q interview questions, and then finally in step 4 we will be verify that question 1 is present in the screen. That means when you click on Q interview questions, you will have to verify something, that this page appeared appropriately. So to do that, we will be verifying, let's say when this page will be fully loaded, I'll show you what we will be going to verify from this one. So let's wait for the file to appear, but in the meantime let me show you something. Excel with functions. Let me open this Excel file and let me show you something. Now I think the page has loaded. Let me go there. Okay, so if you come here, actually I'm running too many times at a time, and that's why my computer is running a little bit slow. Okay, so I'll come back here, but before that let me go to the site. The final step that we were discussing, in the final step we want to verify, when you click on QA interview question, then we want to verify that this page loaded properly, and in order to do that we verified something from that page, and it was so we verified when we clicked on Q interview questions, we verified that this question is present in the page. Question 1, can you tell me about yourself? Okay, so let me go back to the Excel file that we have opened. So what we are doing here, in the beginning we have written a function, and that we are saying that keyword driven framework. So we will be giving you more details in the following videos regarding keyword driven framework and how it works, but it is the video that we are discussing here, it is kind of keyword driven framework. So we have functions those functions we are calling from here. All right, so see, in our example, if you go to our function library here, can you see, before we do anything we are closing our browser. So this is a function, okay, this is a keyword. Now see here, okay, here um, we are calling those keyword close all, open browser. And then if you come here in the function library, then we are for opening browser, we have written another function, and then we are calling that function from Excel here, open application browser. And to verify the website logo, we have another function that we are calling from here, okay. And then we are, after verifying the logo, we are verifying the text. For verifying the text, we are writing this function, and we have called this function from here. And then we have verified that keyword interview question link is present in the menu bar, this one. And then we have clicked on that QA questions link by this function. If you scroll down, Q interview question, first we verified Q interview question by this function, and then we have clicked on Q interview question link by this function, okay. And finally we verified that question 1 is present. To verify question 1, we have written this function and we have called that function from here, okay. And we have used another function library called caller. Inside caller we have another function called functions, okay. We are calling functions from here, from this function library. So if you put all of this function inside custom function library, it will work, but um, I have used a different function library for the caller. Now what we did in the actual action, in the actual test case, see, this is the test case, and in this test case we have opened this Excel file, and from Excel file we have called all of the functions. Now to call all of the functions, these are the mechanism that we have used to call all the functions. So these are the code that we have used to call all the functions, and when we are calling functions one by one, then first it is going to this call functions here in this function, and from here it is there is a select case here. So can you see, it is deciding on that str function name, and then if the function name is this one, if you remember select case that we have discussed in our, when we learn if else, alternate of if else if is select case, then if you remember that it works on this case, and if this case is this function, then it will come here. If this case is this function, it will come here and call this function. If this case is this one, it will come here and call this function, okay. So in this way it will be moving forward. If none of the function is, if the function is not here in the caller, then it will come to the else block and it will say the function is missing. Now let me show you what we did here. In the similar way, like our previous examples, we have created an Excel application object, and then you have a file system object to verify that this file exists or not, and then we are making the Excel visible, and then here If the file doesn't exist, we are giving file doesn't exist, and then it will be exited out. But if the file exists, then we are saying file exists, now opening, and then we are opening that Excel file. Which Excel file? These Excel file. Okay, how many functions we have here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. We have 7 functions. By 7 function we have verified a business scenario, this business scenario. So this is a test case, and for to solve this test case we have written 7 functions, and these 7 functions we are going to call from Excel. Now if you take a look here, um, what we are doing here in the else block, we are opening that Excel file and we are selecting sheet 1 as our working sheet, and then we are reading, first we are reading how many rows we have in that Excel. So if you go back here, can you see we have how many rows? 7 rows. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? And then we are coming here. So what we are doing here, we are first we are reading by this statement in line number 20 how many rows we have in that Excel, and then we have executed a for loop from row 1 to number of existing rows, from rows 1 to 7, and inside the for loop for 1 to 7 we call that call functions. So what we did in that call functions, we have actually called the functions that we have written in the function library. Okay, so now let's go back to our action. Can you see here, for I equal to 1 we are calling this function, and inside this function, when we are calling this function, we have supplied a value. What is that value? This one. Now let's focus on this Excel sheet dot cells I1 dot value. So when we are calling this function, what we are supplying, for I equal to 1, let's say I equal to 1, and then we are supplying Excel sheet dot cells 11 dot value. So Excel sheet dot cells 11 means this one, and in this one we have close all open browser. So close all open browser. So when we are calling this function, actually we are calling this function with a string close all open browser, and when we are calling this function it will be going here in the caller, in this line. Okay, in this line you can see that we have stored close all open browser in this variable str function, and then we are doing a case here, str function. Now in str function we have close all open browser, so this case will be executed in line number 3, and in this case what we did in the actual of operation is this one, we have called that function. Okay, and then when this, after executing this statement, it will, when I will be 2, then it will be calling this function will be called with Excel sheet dot cells 21 dot value. 21 dot value is this one, open application browser. Now if you go there, so when we are calling this function with open application browser, then it will come here again, and now str function will hold open application browser, and then now when we will be doing a case with str function, then it will come here open application browser, and then it will be calling this function open application browser. Okay, now that is how it will work. If you remember, I will say, if you have a confusion, please go to our previous lecture where we have discussed how select case work, and then you will get a details of how select case work. But let me do execution. But before I execute this, let me tell you, I'll be supplying you this Excel file, and I'll be supplying you all the codes in our website, so you can download and play with it. So let me close this Excel file, and this is the actual test case. So this is not related with our actual code here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a breakpoint here, and also in line number 9, and let me execute this code. Okay, so now see when we will be executing line number 9. Actually, let me do one thing. Let me close this. This is the test case, and this is not related to our directly related to our code that we are discussing. This is just the test case that we have solved by that automation code. So I'm going to close that Excel file. Now, when you execute line number 9, the Excel object it has created in line number 4, it will be making visible that Excel object in line number 9. Now line number 9, it should make visible the Excel object that we have created in line number 4. Now can you see it has made visible that Excel, and now it is empty although. So now in line number 10 we are checking the file that we mentioned in the path, this one, if it exists or not. We know that this file Excel with functions, this file already exists. So so it will not execute line number 11. Instead it will go to the else block. So you can see that it came to the else block, and here file path. Now by line number 14 we have opened that Excel file from where we want to read all the functions, right? So here now we are selecting the sheet from where we want to read the functions. This is sheet 1, and then if you execute line number 20, it will return how many number of rows currently we have data in that sheet. You know that we have 7 rows of data. Now from 1 to 7, number of existing rows means 7. We are executing that for loop. Each time we call this function. Now if you take a look here, if I want to watch this value, right click and add to watch. Can you see Excel sheet dot cells I1 dot value? Initially I equal to 1, so 1.1 comma 1 value is this close all open browser function. Now we are calling, when we are calling these call functions, and when we are calling we are supplying a string, this string close all open browser. Now this string will be stored in this str function variable. Okay, str function variable. Now if you watch that str function variable, can you see close all open browser? So when it is executing that select case, it will be coming here, right? And it will be in this block. Actually we are doing an actual operation calling this function. Now if you come here, can you see let me just give it a little bit time. It is taking a little bit time here. Actually what it did, it executed this function, and can you see it has written something here. So from inside each function we have printed the timestamp, and then we have printed a message where we are saying what we are actually doing. Okay, so I had to stop recording because of I had to stop recording and stop execution because my QTP UFT was not responding. So let's take a look from here. Um, Excuse me. Now let's take a look at our local variables. So this str function, can you see close all open browser? So it should come to this this block where we have a case equal to close all open browser, and then in this block we are actually making a call to a function. Now when I'm executing this block, you can see that it is coming to close all open browser, because at this point we have called from inside our for loop, we have called this function with cells 11 value, and in cell 11 we have close all open browser function. And let's see how it goes. So when we are making call, can you see it is coming close all open browser function in the function library. Now in the beginning of the execution of that function, we have printed something in the output. What we have printed? We have called generate timestamp, and then a message close all existing browser. So we are generating a timestamp, and we are adding the timestamp with this string we have here. Now let's see if we execute line number 2 how it goes. First it will be calling generate timestamp function. See, it went to our generate timestamp function, and in this one it is generating the timestamp for us. You know how generate timestamp works. And then we already discussed multiple times how generate timestamp works. So can you see what it is doing? Before executing any actual command, it has printed a message for us, that is 2016 09 10 07 19 42. That is according to my time here, it is 7:19. So it has printed that time, and it is saying that closing all existing browser, and by this line, in line number 3 in the function library, it will close this open existing browser. So if we execute this one, now you can see that it has closed that browser. Okay, so one of the function being called, and then it is going back to the for loop. Now the initial value of I was 1, and when we will be executing next, the value of I will be 2, and then it will be calling call functions with 21 dot value. So 21 dot value is open application browser. Now let's go there. Now in our local variable, you can see that open application browser. Now according to the select case, it should come open application browser in line number 5, right? So you can see that it came to the corresponding block, and it is opening the browser for us, right? It has opened the browser for us. Now let me so the opening browser part is done. Let me sorry. So now I am executing opening application, and again in the beginning of the opening application I am printing a message with the timestamp that we are opening the application. Now you can see that it has printed that message with timestamp opening application. Now we are actually opening the application. So you can see that it has opened the application for us, and according to our step, the next function should be verifying the website logo. So if I keep executing, now we are in the, if I execute the next block, if you take a look at your local variables, now I equal to 2. If I execute next, I will be 3. Then we will be reading data from 3.1 cell, and in 3.1 cell we have verify website logo. So now we are calling function, and if you take a look here, your local variable verify website logo. Now it is in verify website logo function, it is we are calling the verify website logo, and then here we are again printing a message, and and we are printing the message verifying website logo, and here we have a do while loop to verify that um, the website properly loaded. Sometimes website keep loading, so that we are not checking anything before the actual object is already loaded. So we have a do while loop, and it is just to make sure that that object that we are looking for is exist. So we are giving 30 second, as we have exist equal to exist 1, 30 second, so 30 times it will be looping here if the object is not there. So if it get the object for the first time, let's say we are looking for that logo, if it get that object, it will not be iterating 30 times. Instead it will be iterating only one time. So now we are doing a highlight on that website logo, and for highlight we have used descriptive programming, and these functions we have written in our previous recording. We already described these functions. We have used descriptive programming here to highlight this object. Now that object is there, and then when we will execute next, then it should go for at this point our value of I equal to 3. Now value of I will be 4, and in 4.1 we have software quality assurance web element verification. Now let me move forward from here. Now it will be calling software quality assurance web element. Now here if I try to execute this, it will throw an error message. The error message, it is saying that QA interview questions browser object was not found in the object repository. So if you take a look here, if you try to debug it, now if you go to the local object repository, let's see what we have in the local object repository. We have no object in the local object repository, right? Now we had another um, object repository where we have these objects. So we will have to associate that, as I said, in solving this problem we are using a mix of descriptive programming and object repository for the objects. So these objects previously we have added in the in a in a object repository. So I'll have to associate that object repository with this example, with this test case. Now this object repository, if you do not have that object repository, you will have to create a shared object repository by going to resources, and then by clicking on object repository manager you will have to create a new object repository and save it. Okay, and in that object repository you will have to name your function. You will have to name your function as I named it here. Browser named it as this one, page named it as this one, and that object, remember this object is that one you will have to add that object in the repository and name it as this name. Okay, so now I already have the object repository. Let me associate that object repository with our code here. If I go up, the object repository is located in the shared object repository folder, and this is the object repository that we need with this example. Now let me execute the same code, and what I will do, I will keep a breakpoint here and I will remove all the other breakpoints. Okay, so that it stops here. Okay, so I'm executing, and let me remove all of these breakpoints so that it stop over there. Okay, see here, looking for website logo. So it has waited 2 seconds. The loop is executed twice. Can you see this message printed twice? Because first time when it was looking for that website logo, the website logo didn't load it properly, and then second time when it was looking for that website logo, it got that website logo. That's why this message, can you see, 729, 728, 59 it executed. It was looking for once, and then 729, exactly on 729 it was looking it for the second time, and then it got it, and then it exit out from the do while loop. In that way you can dynamically looking for an object without waiting for a certain amount of time. Let's say if you give 5-second wait time, it will be wasting 5 seconds here. If you give like in this line 5-second wait time, then it will be first waiting 5 seconds, then it will be looking for that object. And instead of giving a 5-second wait, now you can see that it has waited 2 seconds, and the object, when it got the object, it exited out from the do while loop, and then it did a highlight on that object. Now our goal is to verify that software quality assurance web element, and this object is in our object repository. In this object repository, if you go to that object repository, you will see that software quality assurance object is there. Now if I execute it, you will see I'm doing an exist, so it is there. And if it exists, I'm going to give a highlight on it, and then we are printing something. What we are printing, that we have got that object. So it will be printing a message here, got the expected text. Okay, and then if I keep executing without the breakpoints, see, it is looking for that Q interview questions, and then it will be clicking on that Q interview questions link, and then finally it will be verifying that can you tell me about yourself questions from this page, and then it will be closing the Excel, and then it will be exiting out from this example. So now it is verifying, can you tell me about yourself, and then the execution should be done. So see here, if you look at the log here, whatever we verified, first we have printed everything with timestamp. First we close all browser before we open any new browser, and then we opened a browser with the application, and then we have verified the website logo. And while verifying the website logo, we have a dynamic do while loop where we were continuously looking for that website logo if it loaded properly, and then when we get it, then we verified it, and then we verified the text under the website logo, and then verified the Q interview questions link in the menu bar, and then when we got the Q interview questions link in the menu bar, we have printed a message, and then we have clicked on Q interview questions link in the menu bar, and then we have verified that question 1 exists in the screen. And while we got the question 1, we have printed a message. All the things with is there with timestamp. So what you need to do, you really need to take a look like how we implement this mechanism here, how we implement, like how we call the function from the function library by using this caller function, and then how we printed message from inside each of the function where we have verified something, and when you got that object we have printed a message. Okay, so this function library and all the code I'm going to post in my website, and also this I'll try to post this object repository too, but if I cannot, you will have to add that object in your object repository, and then you will have to associate it with the test. Okay, and one other thing, as I said, we have used a mix of descriptive programming and object repository in this example. One of the object is in the object repository, and for all other objects, we have used descriptive programming, and you know how to write descriptive programming. If you do not know, I'll say please follow our video here. If you go to QA questions, and then if you come to UFT tutorials and if you scroll down, you will see this here. Where is our descriptive programming video? Below, yeah. So here descriptive programming continued, this video array, dynamic array, and then we have another video on descriptive programming. So I will say you look the previous videos. Now these videos that we are uploading today will be available here with the code like this here. I'll encourage you watch this video and do it by your hand and try to understand it. If you have any question, I'll be answering your question in our tomorrow's session. So I will wrap up this video here. Thank you for watching again. I appreciate your time.